Welcome back to Critical Corner, unfiltered commentary, not your truth, the real truth. And as always, thank you for your support. Hi folks, welcome back. Got a short little, I'll call it a collage of President Biden clips and maybe put my 2 cents in as we go along. This is just what we know about. How much trouble are we really, truly in? So let's just watch a little bit. And of course, I'll pause it to put in my 2 cents. And in this case, it won't be positive at all.
For the first time in a long time, this country's working people actually got a raise. People, the bottom 40%, saw their income go up.
No, that's technically true. But the problem is the inflation that you caused directly. There's no indirectly, and he's getting hit for it because he's in charge as the president. All that money that he signed bills for that was funneled into the country more in the last year than the entire history of the country combined. Think about that for a minute. All that money flowing into the system. Of course there's going to be inflation. Even AOC, who took economics as a minor, or so she says in college, she should know that as well, and she's dumb as a bag of rocks.
The problem is, as well, I have not been out in the community nearly enough. I've been here an awful lot.
They've been here an awful lot. Well, that here is 25 to 30% of the time. He spends his time in Delaware, his home state. He goes there almost every weekend and several days during the week as well. And now you're going to see even the mainstream media, or I should say the legacy media, who's dying, who directly got him elected. Let's tell the truth. They're just an arm of the Democratic National Committee. They're starting to ask questions. Because nobody can be this bad and go unchecked, even for these idiots.
I don't believe the polls.
He was asked, what do you think of the poll numbers? And he said directly, I don't believe the polls. And just stood there. And that was his complete answer. Nothing to back it up. No statistics. No counter polls, even if they were crappy ones, that the DNC took some internal polls and maybe got lucky with one or two of them. He was asked about the polls, and he said, I don't believe the polls. This is so out of touch these people are. Honestly, think about that.
The COVID-19 is not going to give up and accept things. It's not going to go away. Immediately.
It's just not going to go away. That's his version of, I campaigned and said for the last year, and prior to the last year I was president, that I was going to stop the virus. It's all Trump's fault. Meanwhile, over 400,000 people have died on his watch. It's a lot of people, but it's a very small percentage, but it's still a lot of people. Now it can't be stopped. And the way he phrases it, I don't understand where his mindset is. Well, maybe I do. He wasn't that sharp or smart when he was in his 40s, let alone now. What's the Barack Obama quote? Don't underestimate the ways that Joe Biden could F it up. Something similar to that. He'll always find a way to F it up. Obama picked him because he was the so-called moderate Democrat, stable Uncle Joe, and it fooled millions of people. And the exact same thing happened with Trump. He's Uncle Joe, the moderate, the good guy looking out for you, the blue-collar worker. I'm your champion Democrat. And we ended up being not true.
No way to get out of Afghanistan after 20 years easily. Not possible, no matter when you did it. And I make no apologies for what I did.
I made no apologies. He's right in the sense that it wasn't never going to be easy. Never. But I make no apologies. Tell the families of the 13 servicemen that were killed. Tell them. Tell them about the hundreds and hundreds of Americans stuck there. He makes no apologies? Are you serious? This guy's got a serious set of balls. Or he just simply just doesn't care. And by the way, it killed hundreds of Afghans as the 13 U.S. servicemen were, service people were killed. No accountability, none. Even Robert E. Lee, the one everybody hates now, right after Pickett's charge on the third day of Gettysburg when he made this humongous blunder and had thousands died under his order because he screwed up. He turned to his men and said, "It is all my fault. I did this. I effed up." Turning his resignation to the Confederate president. Whether you like the Confederacy or not, that's a sign of a leader taking responsibility for the things you do right and, more importantly, the things you do wrong that kill people.
Up with an industry like the meat processing industry, where 4 big companies dominate the markets. Pay ranchers less for their cattle they grow. I know there's.
Now, he's blaming 4 big cattle buyers that process a lot of the meat in the United States. He's indirectly saying that's why the prices are going up. Oh, okay. So it's the cattle ranchers' fault that used cars have gone up 60%. It's the cattle ranchers' fault that every single item in the grocery store has gone up between 20 and 80%. They take responsibility for nothing. Nothing.
A lot of frustration and fatigue in this country. And we know why. COVID-19, Omicron has now been challenging us in a way that it's the new enemy. You know,
challenging us in a way is the new enemy. It's not the draconian lockdowns. It's not the highest inflation rate since I was in high school in the early 70s. No, that's not it at all. It's not that you can't go places anymore and you're a second-class citizen. It's not because you have to lose your job. It's not because your kids can't go to school. It's not because we're teaching your kids school that's vile and racist. No, it's none of those things. It's just the COVID. Oh, well, thank you, Mr. President, for straightening that out.
I haven't attacked anybody publicly, any senator, any congressman public. My guess is he will move in. He has to do something.
The definition.
Talking about Putin. I guess he has to go in concerning Ukraine. What else can he do? Why don't you just give him the green light? Why don't you call up and say, "Hey, Vlad, what's happening? Joey Biden here." Yeah, go ahead and grab part of Ukraine. Just don't take it all and make me look good. Okay, Joey, thanks, bud.
Right now.
I'm following what the answer is yes. Get the booster shot. It's all part of the same thing. You're better.
I'm following, and he wanted to say science, and then he stopped himself because he knows the science says something else, which I can't go into detail because I'm on probation here on YouTube for the next 90 days. With a community guideline strike. He just says, "Out of hell with it. Take the booster." That's his answer as President of the United States. The leader of the free world, mind you.
Better protected.
And on Omicron and education, teachers are in revolt in so many places. Parents are at odds over closing schools and remote learning. You say we're not going to go back to closing schools. You said that just moments ago. Yet they're closing in some areas. What do you say to those teachers and principals and parents about school closings? And what can your administration do to help make up for learning loss for students?
First of all,
That's an excellent question, by the way. A little long, but excellent. These questions weren't asked in the campaign trail. These questions weren't asked for the last year when the legacy crap media, and I'm sure she's part of whatever organization, I don't know, nor do I care, sees their profits and their ratings plummet to new lows because they don't do their job. Now they finally are. Okay, better late than never, I guess.
I put in perspective the question you asked. Very few schools are closing.
Unbelievable. Very few schools are closing. You can't give an articulate answer. Let me go back. Let me go back just to see here. Try it again. Because this is creepy as it gets.
Very few schools are closing.
Now look at a look on her face like, what?
The Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said that the midterm elections are going to be a report card on your progress on inflation, border security, and standing up to Russia.
Look at him smirking. I'm sure he knows Mitch because they were part of the Uniparty for a long time when he was in the Senate. He knows Mitch is an old neocon and just playing politics. That's why he's smiling, because he knows Mitch McConnell is right with him. But for right now, Mitch McConnell is the minority leader. And this is a legitimate point. The midterms are going to be a report card. That's why he's smiling, because he knows Mitch is right with him. And the sooner these old school neocon rhinos are gone and populist Republicans are in, we're never going to truly succeed.
Do you think that that's a fair way to look at it? And if so, how do you think that report card looks right now?
I think report cards can look pretty good.
I think the report card is going to look pretty good. I think he believes that. I think the people in his administration believe that, who are really president. A handful of faceless, nameless, unelected people that are truly the president. They believe it. They're in this bubble, and they have no clue what the rest of the world is like.
That's where we're at.
The strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Guys, it's time to step in. And I say this with no joy. Vice President Harris is next in line. But they can't. He cannot leave until the midterms. And so we're just going to have to pray that enough people wake up. Until next time, goodbye and good luck.